Michael, Hasson, Tom Hitchcock, how are you?
Good, sir. Good. How's your day going?
Not too bad. How's your hangover?
Not bad. Not bad. A Vegas trip will have quite an effect on you, but as long as you have one of those, what do they call them, margaritas? No,
For
no,
breakfast.
the tomato one, the hangover cure.
Yeah, I love
Uh, the,
the Bloody Mary.
that's the
But
one.
or the
That's the
Virgin
one.
Mary's one without the alcohol.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. So now I've
Yeah,
I've came around a bit. I've had 3, 4 days now, so all good.
I was waiting to see if you had the Mike Tyson tattoo, the missing tooth, and
That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Now, fortunately, I managed to avoid that. I just kept it to the gambling.
there we are.
Uh,
There we are. So, oh, but listen, you and I clearly know each other. Quite often is the case on these episodes. I don't know anything about the person, so I'm a bit biased in this one. Okay, but we have a lot of people listening to these episodes, and they're worldwide. So why don't you share a little bit about what you do?
Yep. So I operate a allied health business in Sydney called Complete Health Group. We provide physiotherapy, speech therapy, dietetic, and OT services across central Sydney. Um, and the vision of the business is to be the first choice allied health provider across central Sydney. I started it myself 9 years ago, back in 2017, and did everything myself at the start, all the phone calls, referrals, emails, saw the clients, and then sent the invoices or didn't send the invoices because I didn't have time. So I was just seeing all the clients, and then I would say to my wife, "Look, I need to go to a cafe here and send off like a month's worth of invoices all in one batch hit." So I was looking around. I was looking around for the nearest cafe that was open earliest in the morning, and of course I found it McDonald's 24/7. So so going there at 6 a.m., smashed it through to 2 p.m., and was on rinse and repeat on that. And then since then, things have moved on, and I've learned to outsource and to stick to what I'm good at. And that's working with people, a bit of recruitment, bit of HR, and business development. And that's where Tom's helping me out a bit with this too. So developing the business and trying to work more on my marketing.
Yeah. So okay. Let's take a couple of steps back then, if that's the case, if I may. You've got a bit of an accent there. Usually, to understand your accent for where you're from, I need a couple of drinks to level things out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But for those who haven't placed it yet, whereabouts you from?
So I'm from the north part of Ireland. If you look at the island of Ireland and you go as far northeast as you can, that's pretty much where I'm from. Across the water, you can see Scotland on a clear day, but it's never clear, so we never see Scotland. Uh, so it rains all the time. But yeah, that's where I was born. That's where I grew up.
Is
Um,
that where the Giant's Causeway is?
Pretty close to the Giant's Causeway. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So for anybody listening, the Giant's Causeway was an old volcano, like hexagonal shaped rocks, basalt formation. And I went on a tour there once, and the tour guide said 64 million years ago, this was a volcano. And he said, but since then, the tectonic plates have moved across the earth, and they move about the same rate as your fingernails grow. So if you want to find out where they are today, just stick your hand out over the ocean and wait 64 million years, you'll be touching them.
There we are. On a clear
Crack me
day,
up.
you'll see the end of your
On a
fingernails.
on a clear day, that's it. That's it. They cracked me up.
It's
Stuck
interesting.
with me.
I see because they're quite interesting. The hexagonal things, sticks of rock that come up, and people still question today. "Oh, this is odd. This is a phenomenon that," but it's long known what it's from. But people still question it.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, obviously it can be explained scientifically, but the Irish decide to put all this mythology around it and say that three giants were chasing each other and one of them smashed one and that banged all these rocks up. And so there's all this mythology, which is part of the culture, really.
It probably helps with tourism now as well. To be honest with you.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, everyone loves a story.
So, but back home in Northern Ireland, then, okay, would what you do for a living be still called allied health?
We didn't really like in Ireland. Yes, it is allied health, but it wasn't. wouldn't really have been referred to that way. It was just kind of standalone. It was physiotherapy, occupational therapy, social work. Nobody really used the phrase ally. I mean, I've left 15 years ago, but at that time it was just the standalone professions. Um, I mean, yes, the answer is yes, it is allied health, but it just wasn't really referred to that way.
Yeah. So the reason I say that is because obviously a lot of our audience is worldwide, and I'm always careful that where we sit, we use the terminologies of local nuances, if you like. Anybody listening to want to make sure that they understand what it is that you do, etc., etc. So, all right. So you left Northern Ireland with a view of starting a business or a view of working for someone else. What was the journey?
You look, I kind of went against the grain in many ways because my family in Ireland have a steel fabrication business, right? So this is
Close,
a re-
close. Allied
this is
health,
a,
steel
this
fabrication.
is this is a real tangent. So I mean, in my growing up in school holidays, university holidays, I would have been in the steel factory and I've been like cutting plates, drilling holes in plates, welding, all that sort of stuff. And I just kind of like thought, nah, I'm not doing this. So I went the complete opposite direction. Like my dad wanted me to be an engineer. He was like, oh, mathematics, physics, you do the engineering, you can work for the firm and all of this. But I just didn't like it, and I went completely the opposite. So broke my dad's heart, but I am happy. He wanted me to be involved, but I ended up just kind of going my own way, and that's the way to do things. I left. It took me a while to get a job. My dad laughed at me because he said, you've been 7 years in primary school, 7 years in grammar school, 4 years university, so you educated for 18 years. So you're the most employable person on the island, and you can't get a job. So I couldn't get a job, so I started working for Royal Mail, so in like Australia Post, the mail service. So I started doing that, hoping something would come up, and then 10 months go past, and I was applying for every job that was going, every physio job. Got a job in the Southern Trust, which is the National Health Service, so it's the public health service in the UK. Northern Ireland is part of the UK. Long story. So I worked there for 3 years, and it was 50 miles to go to work. Left home in the dark, came home in the dark, and it was kind of like, oh, there's more to life than this. Surely there's more to life. Took a career break, and left Northern Ireland, came to Australia for a career break, and it's been the longest career break of my life. I'm still on holiday. When I came here, I didn't really have grand aspirations, starting a business or anything. I was just it was all lifestyle. I wanted to see the world a little bit, get away. Lots of my friends had been there. I wanted to know what all the fuss was about, and so I came here and worked in hospitals, clinics, and then I picked up the community gig in 2014. So I worked at a medical practice in Piermont, which is inner city Sydney. They had like half a week's work for me. So I thought I'll start doing the home visit stuff on the other half of the week, work for a company called Agewell Physiotherapy. Agewell was run by Rick Dawson. Rick Dawson's now the Australian Physiotherapy Association president. I was fortunate to have him as a boss, as a mentor. Like really, our values align. He's great. He doesn't know it, but he was a mentor to me. He'll probably say, Michael Hasson, who's that guy? But he really was a mentor to me, and had an impact on me at that time. He sold his business to a Melbourne conglomerate called Dimple. And then like Dimple tried to kind of lump all of their kind of cookie cutter systems onto the staff, and I just thought I'm just going to do this myself. I was more about kind of the service delivery and the client, consumer focused, and I didn't like all this kind of one size fits all. So I thought, look, let's just keep it about the client. Let's keep the value in the service. Let's kind of cater to the needs of the client. So I started my own thing and did what I called the business is called Complete Health Group. I called it Complete Health Group from the beginning, even though the group was just one guy, me. So, but it's a group now. It's a group now. So, that was kind of the foundation of it all, how it started. Um, and I'm from Ireland. I'm prominent in the Irish community in Sydney, so I kind of attracted Irish candidates who are really well trained here for a good time, not a long time. And I'd bring them on, great skills, great people. But I kind of got a little bit weary of, these guys are going to go to do regional work, or they're going to go traveling or go away. So if I still do have Irish staff, but I've kind of learned to kind of strengthen the business bit by bringing on permanent residents or citizens who are going to be around for a longer period of time. And I'm tossing between those because it's easy for me to recruit Irish people. They come to me, I kind of attract them. But I have some Australian citizens now as well, and permanent residents and other nationalities as well.
Okay.
It's a mix.
So in the Irish community, there's probably something there that a lot of people do not know about you. Okay, you are prominent in the Irish community. I'm not Irish, so I can't verify that. I just heard you talk about it enough times, so I might as well give you a platform. Tell us about what it is that you do in that community and why people will know you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll go back. So my dad in Ireland was a volunteer in Gaelic sports. So the Gaelic Athletic Association. So that consists of hurling, football, handball. Hurling and football is what most people will know. So it's a bit like Aussie rules football, but the ball is round. That's Gaelic football. And then hurling is a bit like lacrosse, only more violent. It's a bit like lacrosse, only instead of a net, you've got like a hockey stick with a larger head on it. Anyway, it's got amateur status, but it's the national sport in Ireland. And my dad got involved at club level and then county level and then provincial level, and he got to the point where he was the president of one of the four provinces in Ireland. So he governed over 260 sports clubs across Ulster, which is Northern Ireland. So I grew up watching him going to these meetings, like traveling all these distances, and constantly involved in and I thought, I am not doing that. No chance. There's no chance I'm going to get involved in that. I just saw how much he did, the effort he put in, and the thanks he got, or the criticism he got, which was more than thanks. But I think the saying's true. You slowly become your parents, and I'm just kind of turning into my dad now, and I'm getting more and more involved. So I've been the secretary of Penrith. Well, I played for the club for 7 years. I coached the ladies football team for 4 years, and I've been the secretary for 7 years now. I was registrar for 1 year, secretary for 7 years. So it's all on a voluntary basis. There's 9 different clubs in New South Wales, the state of New South Wales. So I'm now like really heavily involved in that, and it's kind of like an operations manager for the football club. So I'll be ordering jerseys for the men's team, for the ladies' team, shorts, socks. I'll be getting training equipment. I'm trying to get away from the coaching because it's like no one else will do it, and I'm like, oh, if nobody else will, I will. But I've kind of come to kind of think, look, I used to think I'm doing my bit here for the club. I'm stepping up. No, I'll do this. But now I'm like, I'm enabling people that won't do it. That's kind of what I think because I've done it for so long. So now I'm kind of like, actually, I'm going to help, but I'm not doing that anymore. Somebody else needs to do this. I'm actually stepping away to the point where if nobody does it, I'm actually not stepping in anymore. But it kind of volunteer sports. I mean, that's kind of how it goes. We're thin on the ground. We're a dying breed, and it's hard to get people to volunteer their time.
Right.
So we have before. I know your aunt's this your auntie as well, right? Did this. So in New South Wales, we play every Sunday. It used to be at Ingleburn, now it's at Blacktown. So every Sunday, I would see all of these players. I would see all of these. I was coaching some of them. I was refereeing some of them. So I would see all of these people every Sunday. Some of them work in allied health. I've sponsored the team. So my complete health group's been on the jerseys for 3 years. So people come and they see the jerseys and they see me and they say, oh, he might help you out with the job and all of that. And that's, a short-term fix a lot of the time. So, but it's an easy fix, but a short-term fix.
Yeah, love it. Okay. Is there many people in our realms, apart from obviously all your Irish staff, of course, that in our circuit, if you like, that know that fact about you?
No, no, I
Or
don't
that do
think.
now?
Yeah, they do now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
There's some other
good.
bits. There's a couple other bits I think people probably need to know about you and put more specifically your business. Okay, so we like to back businesses that know where to go and what to do and what makes them different. Okay, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
All right, so this goes to our mission, right? So our mission is to process all referrals within 24 hours. That's our mission, right? So if we get a referral in, like we can literally get that done and have someone there really, really soon. Like physiotherapy is what we've done and what we're really good at. We've got 10 physios. We also have speech OT, dietetics, but a physio we can probably place tomorrow or the next day. Uh, Speech OT, dietetics, it might take us a week, but 2 weeks, but we do get it done. So the difference is our speed, like just how quickly we can, and that's we've got a 24-hour guarantee. So any referrals we get, they will be processed within 24 hours, and that includes a Sunday because I'm a workaholic and we have a virtual assistant who monitors the emails, filters the emails, and will process them during working hours and then the following day. Outside work hours, I mean, they flash up on my phone anyway, so I'm going to see it. So if it's a Sunday, I'll be like, right, I'll hop on this one and get it done.
Yep, love it. Okay, and you've got something you wanted to mention. I'm trying to give you the platform here to advertise shamelessly.
Yeah, shamelessly. That's like, well, look, I this was born. I went to a local Label Plus networking event, NDIS event. Like our roots are in aged care, right? So we started in gerontology. We've got deep roots in aged care. So over the last 5, 6 years, we've come into NDIS, and that's how I've met yourself, Tom, as well. I got more involved in the NDIS community, met people. So for anybody listening, Tom is my business coach. He's helping me out. And I went to one of these Able Plus networking events, and I've mentioned this event at this networking event, right? So it was born out of me being, I've run this business for 9 years, and I'm just like a workaholic. I'm, I'm not going to say I'm burnt out, but I'm just like, oh, let's do something fun. Like I work all the time, operations, all this stuff, staff, services. Yeah, right. That's all a given. So last year I was like, let's do something fun just for a laugh. So I started this Easter talent show for senior citizens. And I use an Amex credit card to pay for all the the business expenses. And there's a third party that allows you to get Qantas points if you use them, right? So they were doing an Easter talent show for kids, and I thought, why don't we do this for senior citizens? Like, why does no one do this for oldies? Like, what happens for oldies? And I just love spending time with them. My parents are, my dad's going to be 80 next year. I grew up in a really rural community. All the young people left. So I grew up around lots of older people, and I've just come to really respect them and listen to them and kind of realize like there's pearls of wisdom. Like if you meet an older person and you let them speak, there's pearls of wisdom in what they say. I wanted to appreciate them, give them a platform, lift them up, and it was a bit of fun as well. So I said, look, let's do this Easter talent show for senior citizens. Last year was the first year. This year is going to be year two. It's on Saturday, April 4. It's at Annandale Community Centre, Sydney. It's at 11 a.m. That is the physical showcase. So if you are over 65, that's the only criteria there is. If you're over 65, you can enter. You can play the fiddle, dance, sing a song, anything you like. Dance the funky chicken. Just go wild, right? Anything you like on the show on the day. And then prior to that, because people have mobility problems, transport problems, you can enter online at completehealthgroup.com.au. So if you go there, there's a link, Easter Talent Show, submit an entry, and you can put anything on there in MP3, MP4, audio, pictures, whatever. To give people an idea of what entries there was, last year drum roll. Third place was a lady describing Paddington in the city of Sydney. So she grew up in Paddington in the 1950s, and she described the street crime, horses, prostitution. She witnessed murders, like all this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, long enough has passed that we can put this out to the public. The second prize was a lady who built this giant Lego piece, like over 1,000 pieces of Lego, this huge vase. That was second prize. And then first prize was a guy from Coogee who sang Sugar Man on the guitar, and he just stole the show. I'm like, this guy, he's just got bags of talent. Like this is hands down the winner.
There we
So
are. I reckon you're Mr. Sugarman. We should, when we publish this on YouTube specifically, let's add him on a link at the bottom so we can
yeah,
listen to that as well.
definitely, definitely, it's a great performance.
Well, mate, well, listen, that brings us to an end of this one. I'm glad we got those little snippets out because it's well worth sort of getting yourself involved with. Anybody wants to reach out to you about the allied health, your story, sheet metal, Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland, or more importantly, the Easter show, how should they contact you?
But if you type Complete Health Group into anything, if you type Complete Health Group into Facebook, Instagram, Google, we'll come up and all the details are there.
Love it. Brilliant. Thanks a lot for your time, mate. Good to catch up.
Good man, Tom. Cheers. See ya. Bye bye.
Hello again. I am Mr. Purple. Thanks again for watching this video. If you like my videos, if you like what we try to do here, please subscribe if you haven't done it already. The other thing that's very popular right now is the t-shirts, the Mr. Purple t-shirts. There's lots of people wearing these at the moment. You can grab yours on our website, copying this link below. So once again, thanks for listening. We love your feedback. Engage with us and speak soon.